Zelensky is wedded to this maximalist position, which again, we all emotionally understand. But the Ukrainian people, we recently had a poll on our show that we showed, had some, major support actually for some sort of negotiation. But there's no elections. And in fact, he's been cracking down on domestic dissension from the beginning of the war, on top of recently signing this, anti-corruption law, which drew massive protests to the streets. So in this initial time frame, it appears that the most likely scenario is Zelensky will reject outright some sort of meeting. Trump remains in his pickle about secondary sanctions, doesn't know what to do. The war will continue fighting on, at the very least, with European support. Trump seems happy to send, weapons to the Ukrainians as long as the Europeans buy them. And it'll be like some sort of semi-frozen conflict where the front line moves daily. Now, how long does Ukraine, the polity, like the people left inside of Ukraine, tolerate that situation, as you said, as long as these thousands and thousands of their men, increasingly elder men, begin to keep dying on the battlefield?
It's very hard to answer that question. The only sort of analogous case that I know is Germany in World War I.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is that the Americans entered the war in April of 1917. And what happened was that by the spring of 1918, the Americans were beginning to come in huge numbers. And this meant that the balance of power on the battlefield in terms of manpower was shifting against the Germans. This is over the course of 1918. At the same time, what was happening in Germany is that support for the war on the home front was collapsing. And it was because of the blockade that the West had put on Germany and on Austria-Hungary. Those countries were starving. It was a total disaster. So support for the war on the home front evaporated. At the same time, the coming of the Americans on the battlefield shifted the balance of power in ways that made it apparent that Germany was going to lose. And the end result is that by October 1918, Germany was through. It was all over with. And you got a peace agreement. And you want to remember that the Allies never set foot during the combat on German territory.
Yes.
Germany collapsed on the home front. So just to go to Ukraine today, if you look at what's happening on the battlefield, it's very clear, and you were hinting at this, that Ukraine does not have enough manpower.